Welcome, everybody, back to another episode, Sons of Montezuma. The guys, we are officially back from our wild Mountain West weekend in Las Vegas. I got Fiend, I got Mike with me. We survived, we made it, we are here. We want to thank you guys for joining us. Of course, we all know the Aztecs go down. Winners of 2 out of 3 this week in the Mountain West Conference Tournament, but just not enough. They get left out of the NCAA March Madness tournament. We're going to go through the games and talk about were the Aztecs snubbed or not. We'll see you guys in just a minute. Let's go.
We need a 3, so who's your bet? Coach looking down, probably many Chavez, but it's many Cheyenne. The French phenom, in fact.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, guys. Welcome, everybody, back. Sons of Montezuma. Of course, you know what we do. San Diego State Aztecs football, basketball, softball, baseball. We talk about it all. Of course, Mateo San Diego. I'm an Aztec warrior, and I'm joined to my left, back home safely in East Tahoe. What's going on, Mike? How are you doing, Mike?
Good, man. Got a fun trip. Got to see everybody. Got to hang out with some interesting characters. You know what I mean? But it was a fun. Overall, it was a fun trip, man. If the worst thing that happened to us is that we lost the basketball game, then so be it.
I don't know if that was the worst thing that happened to us. But what's going on, Fiend? How you doing? Welcome. The Pharaoh Fiend, is that what it is now? Pharaoh Fiend? No longer a master anymore?
I guess. No, I tried to bring some Egyptian magic to the Thomas and Mack there. It worked for 2 out of 3 games. And, man, great to see you guys. Great to hang out. Probably the wildest birthday I've ever had in my life. I don't know if we'll get into all of the details, the sordid details of what happened, but it was a phenomenal time. Would have liked to cut down those nets in Vegas, but whatever.
Bill, what's going on? He says the agony of defeat Monday. It's tough, guys. I mean, 2 out of 3, 2 wins, right? That first game, Colorado State, we were coming in hyped up. I think we all felt confident we were going to win that game, but at the same point in time, anything can happen. And last year, as everybody knows, first round and out, one and done against Boise State. So, but like I said, we felt confident coming in. Colorado State, they beat us up pretty bad in Fort Collins, guys. We talked about it in the preview. On a neutral playing court, got the job done. Miles Bird was electric. It was great to see. Pretty much it was a total team victory. Everybody came out. I want to say, boy, what was the final score on that one? I'm looking at the other 2 games because, when you beat Colorado State, it's like, okay, you expect to beat them. 71-62. They did make a game out of it, though. They did make a game out of it. Butler was good. Mike, anything jump out to you in that Colorado State game? To me, it was Booth. He didn't really have anything like that second game at home, right?
No, I mean, it was kind of like the first game in a sense. The defense was ratcheted up. You could sense the urgency in the team, knowing what they had to do to get it done. And, they just played a good fundamental basketball game that they needed to play, and they beat them pretty good, so 39-27 at halftime, and they finished it off at the end. So they played well, man. That was a game where I wasn't sure how they were going to come out after UNLV, and but I was happy with how they came out and played fundamental team basketball and good defense, and held their team to only 38% shooting from 3. So that's what they do. But the craziest thing, right? When the only team since I think 2010 in any tournament game to have 1 3-pointer and miss 20 free throws and win a tournament game. I mean, that's
unbelievable.
Talk about different ways to win a basketball game, man. So, but hey, but you know what? I got to see my buddy Joe Moore, Jace's dad, and his wife Shannon. So after the game, went up to them and saw them and said hello. So that was a nice treat to get to see them. I haven't seen them in a long time, so I was able to do that. So that was pretty cool.
Fiend, you said that these teams we were going to play, we're going to have a slight advantage coming in because they were already 1 game in. who did Colorado State beat again on that game before? Fresno. Yeah. So we were keeping a close eye on that one, and Fresno actually gave them a good fight until they didn't. The real Simpkins says, heard that Fiend whistle every game. Hats off to you. Hats on to Fiend, the Pharaoh hat. Keep it on. You brought the whistle as soon as we got there. We'll share some of those scenes. But did it look like they had an advantage coming in at least the first 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that prompted me to go over to the other side where they were shooting and go formulate with the with some of the guys over there to bring some noise and energy, and hopefully that our team fed off on that. But no, it was a very slow start, like I predicted. Slow start. A lot of our fans get into the arena late, right? And so we didn't have that home court advantage yet. Right. And I'd say about halfway through the first quarter, then everyone was there, and we clearly had a numbers advantage as far as fans. And it did feel like a home game for the Aztecs. And I think that gave the team a real boost. And they closed the first half really, really strong.
So I just want to kind of gloss over the next two games just a little bit, and then we'll talk some big picture stuff and whatever jumped out to you guys in the whole tournament. But the next game, obviously, New Mexico beating Colorado State set up that matchup against New Mexico. I believe it was the 101st game between the two. Of course, these two are, you heard it all over the broadcast, the biggest rivalry in the conference. Final game in the conference against each other. Aztecs, Lobos. Beating Colorado State, you walked away from that thing feeling pumped up because it was such a good team victory, despite the flaws, like Mike said, the 1 3-pointer. You knew that couldn't be the same. You couldn't copy that recipe, but somehow the Aztecs got the win over the Lobos by 2 points. This game was the best game in the tournament by no contest. Yeah, I wish I said that I could have been there with you guys, but Mike, you said it very well. Fiend, give you the first take on this very briefly against New Mexico. BJ Davis, game winner.
Yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal in this game, especially down the stretch. And we saw him try to take a game winner with like 17 seconds on the clock at the pit and didn't go so well. And I liked how he held the ball, held it, and then he just kind of got by his guy and split the defense and laid it in with 2 seconds left. It was a great finish. What a great play. Clutch. He was onions. Also in this game, what we did on Boljan was really huge. Only 8 points, right? I thought Goon and our big guys really kind of stepped up on that end. Our defense was phenomenal the first two games, so that was really good to see.
What about you, Mike? You kind of echo what he's saying. Boljan, 8 points, 3 of 9. And, he got 10 boards. But like Goon said in the postgame, they were strategizing to just wall him off, use his length. I love that last game. Boljan was kind of not talking trash, but he was just basically saying, look, I'm stronger than Goon. I don't know if he can handle me. And not those words, but in so many other words. So it was really cool to see Goon come out and assert, use what he has. That's his length, and it was bothering him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little different Goon than he had played before. I think we saw a pretty healthy Magoon, playing the night before and then playing that day. I mean, that was a different – he seemed fully healthy to me, the way he played, the way he was able to do it. So Boljan kind of got a little bit different taste of an individual that was playing different ball than when he played before. So, yeah, he probably is stronger. I mean, he's 25 years old, right? But – you could see the potential and how Magoon can play against pretty much anybody if he's fully healthy. So, but that game was fun, dude. Like that game was fun. It was everything you wanted in a basketball game. The crowd was electric on both sides. Everybody was having fun. I did notice. I do think New Mexico travels with family more than San Diego State. I just got that feeling every time I see, there's a lot of kids and stuff, which is cool. You know what I mean? So, but what else can you want from a basketball game? Obviously you won it. So that's a little different feeling than New Mexico and you come dejected, but I mean, what a game, man. Like you're not going to get that electricity in an NCAA tournament game. That is something where you get both teams. It was packed. and it just felt like a championship game, even though it was the semifinals and stuff. But the team played well, and BJ Davis, I mean, like at the end of the day, BJ was only 2 of 7 from field goals. And those two were the layup at the end of the first half and the layup at the end of the second half. But he was 8 of 12 from the free throw. So, he just kept playing, and just to watch him, his maturation since he was a freshman is pretty impressive to see, because now we can see the guy that Dutch and the coaching staff saw in high school fulfilling his potential of what he could potentially be moving forward. So, I mean, it was a great game, man. I had a hell of a lot of fun. After that, I don't know what was more fun, the games or afterwards on those 2 nights. You know what I mean? So, but
yeah,
I was lucky enough to watch those 2 games, and obviously I headed out Saturday morning for a little girls gymnastics competition. But I'll tell you what, man, I was talking to Fiend after the game, I think Thursday, and I was like, dude, I feel like we've been here like 3 days. He's like, bro, we've been here 36 hours. We put so much into 36 hours together that it's been fun, and just to see everybody and have fans come up, and some kid from Jeremiah from New Mexico came up and said, hey, I appreciate you guys, and had fun and stuff like that, talking about the podcast. So it's a different vibe when you go there. So hopefully that we don't lose that moving to the new conference and that tournament. But this was a good, even though we didn't win it all, man, it was a pretty fun tournament to go to.
Well, we already see a Zag in the chat. He says, from a Zag fan, see you on the fall. Enjoy 2026. So, John Jen, thank you for that. But I get what you're saying, man. I mean, this New Mexico rivalry, it's a true rivalry, right? I think the fan bases actually enjoy it. I know I do. Shout out to Lewis. Lewis from the chat last episode. He actually did find us there in the Thomas and Mack Arena. We got a selfie with him, and, it was all good, fun banter, right? We're all passionate fans, both sides, and it could get nasty. Don't get it twisted. It could get nasty between Lobos and Aztecs inside the arena, online, all that good stuff. But I think at the end of the day, it's all respect. At the end of the day, there is a lot of respect there between the two programs, and there should be. Okay. Do we want to show a little behind the scenes footage of all this excitement that you're talking about, Mike? I had some time on my hands today to kind of reflect and look back on our wild Mountain West weekend.
Do I need to hide right now?
You can't hide with that hat, bro. You can't hide with that.
Freaks come out at night.
Guys, we want to thank you for joining the stream. Of course, make sure you follow us on social media, all that good stuff. Occasionally, we like to show our little behind the scenes on the travels, because we travel with the team at least 3 games this season. NIL tournament. We made a trip out to Phoenix, and of course the Mountain West tournament. So we like to have a little fun. Let's check it out.
Oh, there he is. What's up, Mikey? How you doing?
Bojangles.
Let's go. Let's get some Bojangles.
Iranian drum.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
Miles Burton for line.
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice no-look pass. Oh, you got that all day, every day, Glock.
Final scores: San Diego State 71, Colorado State 62.
Aztecs won. Woo! Now on to the semifinals. Who we playing? Lobos? Let's go, Aztecs. Come on.
Let me see those glasses. Are you guys ready to see P get fucked up?
Hit him again! Harder! Hit him again!
An absolute instant classic last night. The San Diego State men's basketball team comes out on top. The scoop layup to end the first half, the driving layup to end the second half. Mama like the championship against Utah State today. Get there, Aztecs fans.
There you have it. Not the best ending of a wild weekend full of Star Wars characters, micro mini wrestling, and basketball. But hey, it was wild, Fiend. It was your birthday weekend. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was more than that, but we can't show it on the family-friendly episode. So they'll have to hit us up for our videos on our iPhones.
You got to be in the inner circle for all of that. Yeah. Favorite part of that experience, Mike? I mean, the Empire Strips Back was pretty awesome. See Yoda rapping. That was pretty awesome. That was a fun night. Yeah. You're muted, brother. You
Best
muted.
take ever. Best take ever.
Oh, what? Oh, dang! Now how the tables have turned. Now Mike is silent. What's going on here?
Can you hear me? No.
Gotcha.
You can hear me now.
Can hear you now.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect from that, but that was a hell of a lot of fun, man. That was a hell of a lot of fun. It was just a fun weekend, man. And there's some a small world like we talked about earlier, with all that stuff. No, I mean, no pun intended. But it was a great birthday weekend for our guy. We got to see a lot of people. It was funny. I saw the Mr. and Mrs. Bird, I think Friday night before the game or Thursday or whatever it was. And they're like, "Oh, we love your daughter on the podcast. We love your daughter on the podcast." And, I was telling them about how I had to leave Saturday morning and stuff, but they're the nicest people in the world, man. And so, but it was fun to see everybody and hang out and get a chance to, what are you drinking out of a toilet? That's ridiculous, bro. But yeah, it was a great weekend, man. Honestly, it was fun to see you guys, and I was able to see 5 of the 5 winning quarters, and I missed the second half of the last one because I had other obligations. But I'm proud of this team for just sticking together and just fighting till the end like they always do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but that's a problem for another day. But I'm proud of this team. We got the privilege to watch this team all year through the ups and downs, the roads. It's a microcosm of life. Not everything goes your way, man. You know what I mean?
Okay, so, all right, Sappy. Stop being so sappy. I want to know what was going through your mind when you got hit over the head, clobbered by the little midget wrestler. That's what I want to know. The what's his name? Kenny Shamrock? Was that his mini Kenny Shamrock? I don't know who.
Yeah. I mean, no, it didn't. I wanted some more. It didn't hurt. The little hands. He, hit me with it. I was like, come on, bring it. And then he hit me over
little
again.
hands.
And I was like, okay, I'm done now. I'm done.
That was great. That was a great time. That night was awesome. I highly encourage people to go check that out. Was it Micromania?
Micromania. Yeah, they travel and stuff too. But the craziest part, I dropped my daughter off gymnastics today, and when I was talking to him after the show, he had went to UNR. The little man, the little Irish man, right?
The little Shamrock guy.
Yeah, right, or whatever his name is, right? So I'm telling the story to the coach who's about his age, and she goes, I grew up with him. I went to high school with him. I went to college with him. And I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me, bro. It's just such a wild, like, I don't know. That stuff happens to me quite a bit, man. But I was like, you got to be whatever. And then she showed me pictures. I'm like, oh my God, dude. So, but it was fun, man.
We should go see the micro boxing. I think they've got that too. Like he was a Ryder Warbrick. He was in a match, got his ass kicked like in the first round, but that'd be fun to watch too.
But the best part when we jumped in the Uber and we're on the way over, In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins started playing. And almost basically when we got dropped off is when the drum solo hit, and I go, this is cinematic. This is gonna be magic. And it was, man. And then other Aztec guys showed up from the game and stuff like that, and it was wild, man.
We had a good sized group. Shout out to everybody who rolled out to celebrate Fiend and watch the wrestling. I know Kenny was out there. He brought a lot of members from the pep band. Of course, all the homies were out there rolling. Eli, of course, Captain Eli, and it was a great time. I'm like, how much do I want to divulge, guys? How much do I want to divulge? Because as great as the time as we were all having, I was like on the edge of my seat, literally watching the wrestling before making it out. And you guys know, and you know what? For those of you guys who don't know, behind the scenes, you guys see all the laughs, you guys see all the antics and all that stuff. But I do got to thank the men to my left and to my right, Fiend and Mike. Seriously, thank these guys because unfortunately I missed out on the best game of the tournament this year, probably the best game of the season, the whole season, right? And that night we were watching the midget wrestling, and towards the end, I'm freaking out because I'm starting to get cold. I knew I was hungry, but I started getting cold. I started getting like the chills and all that stuff, right? So I excused myself. I was like, I'll see you guys later. I'm out. And long story short, no Vegas trip, no wild Vegas trip is probably as wild as it could be without a trip to the ER, right? So I spent the night, or at least that good part of that early morning, in the emergency room there right off the strip, guys, and I missed out on the New Mexico game. Didn't get to see BJ Davis hit the game winner shot. Didn't get to see everything there in the arena. Made the trip specifically for this tournament. Mike says it's my Comic-Con, which I absolutely believe. I dress up as an Aztec fan every year and go see the game. But, thanks to these guys, they saw me through, made sure I got out okay that very next morning. And, hey, back problems, my neck and my back, there ain't no joke. And, yeah, boy, I was very high on some good things when you guys picked me up. I was kind of floating. Hope I didn't say anything stupid to you guys. Hope I didn't say anything stupid.
No, you were chill. We're there for you, man. Whatever you need, that's what we're there for.
Okay, all right, but missed out on the game, missed out on some of the antics. So if I wasn't around, you guys know why. But it was a wild trip, guys. We beat New Mexico. Watched every bit of it. Utah State. It was the matchup that maybe we all wanted to see. Split the regular season, beat them really bad at home. I mean, we pretty much ran them at home. I didn't know what to expect from this game. I think it kind of lived up to the hype, right? I mean, this was a back and forth game. We had a 1-point lead at the half, surprisingly. And the story of the game, guys. Story of the game. A 5-point play there with 5 minutes left. Just over 5 minutes left. We're down 4. Reese is chasing Collins around all over the court. He had already nailed a 3 previous to this play. So the guys are gassed. Shout out to Reese, who really was the defensive guy of the weekend, covering, of course, Hall. The previous game in New Mexico shut him down, which was another story of the game we didn't even mention. He's got to cover Collins pretty much in this next game. They both scored 20 points each, but that closing time, it's pretty obvious Utah State had all the energy. Aztecs ran out of gas. I mean, they completely ran out of gas. Shoots the 3. Reese barrels over the screen setter, the big guy, blows the whistle, nails the 3, 5-point play, of course, with the 2 free throws, off-ball foul. And there's no coming back from that, guys. There's no coming back from, what was that, a 9-point lead under 5 minutes left. I mean, that's pretty tough. And then it jumped to 11. Fiend, you were there with the rest of the crazies down there behind the goalpost. All you guys, shout out to the show members who did actually show up and make the trip. What were you thinking when you saw that 5-point play? They reviewed it and still allowed it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really, really tough break, and pretty much took the wind out of our sails. Any chance of a comeback, when you get down by like that, by double digits like that in an instant, it felt like this before the game, we were hanging out at the office bar, and I was telling everyone just how I couldn't come down from the night before, right? And I think I was up till almost like 3 a.m. I was so hyped up from that game. But the next day, then I was so tired before the game. And, I was thinking, I can only imagine for the players what that was like to have that really, really high and then try to come back down and reset for the Utah State game, which Utah State, I don't think had as tough of a fight against Nevada. Plus they had a little more rest, but they didn't have that emotional swing that they had to get ready for. I think that was a big deal, and I think that really showed up for us in the last 10 minutes of the game. I think we really showed that we were gassed. and we had put it all out there, and we just didn't have any left in the tank.
Anything to piggyback off that, Mike?
I didn't see the second half, so I can't really comment on that. But I heard it was kind of it wasn't necessarily the right call, but it was the call. So when I was watching the first half, what I saw was we didn't capitalize on turnovers. Like, we were turning them over, we just didn't capitalize on it. So yeah, we're up by 1, but we could have been a lot more. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? But when you have, they had 9 steals to our 1, and we had 14 turnovers, and they had 6, but they had 17 points off our 14 turnovers, and we only had 4 points off their 6. So that's a huge number to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big difference. But that's from the first half I saw. They came out with adrenaline. They came out with some energy. Didn't capitalize on the turnovers like they should have. And then I told a buddy of mine before the game back east, he's like, "Hey, what do you think?" I said, "Well, honestly, we're probably tired. And Utah's a very fundamental basketball team. So it's going to be an uphill battle for these guys. But, the first half, I think we're going to do well. The second half is going to be interesting to see. And unfortunately, they just ran out of steam, man. They gave it a great effort. But, I mean, that's going to be tough. Like, I was talking to Fiend, just out of curiosity, I wanted to go back and look, but I haven't had any chance. But playing until 11:45 at night and then playing at 3:00, I don't care what team you are, that's got to take a toll on a kid. You know what I mean? Whoever it is. So I'd like to see it eventually. I'll dig into this. How many teams played the late game and got to the final, actually won the final? I know Fiend said 2011, but I can't imagine it's many. But it's not an excuse. It's just a curiosity of mine, because how do you put them at 3:00, and it's like, okay, I know it's TV schedule, but like, it's just not fair for the kids, man. It's just not fair to the kids. You got to give them some more time both teams to rest, I think.
I do agree that it was a factor. I think you look at the guys play, you watch the full game. By that second half, like you said, Mike, they weren't turning Utah State over. And credit Utah State, they didn't turn the ball over. They tightened up on the second half. They're known for running a very efficient offense. They're some of the best passing big guys, and just a team overall. They make crisp passes. They run a lot of motion. So I mean, they look very good. But you could just see uncharacteristic things, or maybe not uncharacteristic things, because we've seen the Aztecs all season long. They weren't the best passing team, right? I mean, even passes that they would complete, a lot of times you would see it. They were off target. Guys were having to reach back to get it, jump up to get it. I mean, that really affects your play. It's just a little sloppy, right? It wasn't as tightly dialed in as it was in this tournament in the first 2 games. Of course, you got to credit Utah State defense. Awesome defense. But I do agree with Fiend. I mean, it was a factor. I think you both are saying the same things. But this is what you get the number 1 seed for, guys. In the season, these are the advantages that you get to play. Look at Gonzaga there in the WCC. I mean, they don't even have to play so many games. They're automatically in the semis every single time, right? So the season counts. In a league that has so much parity, you got to get that number 1 seed. TV defines it, and setting the conference up this way. It's nothing against San Diego State, right? It's TV, right? And we could get into more of my theory on that, because I mean, you heard it from Dutch. These opportunities for if you're not a power conference, these opportunities are dwindling down. And who controls all this stuff? Television does, right? So they're just making it. They're just squeezing you. They're just chipping away at every single little thing. Of course, we know now the Aztecs didn't get the call up to the NCAA tournament, and this is a 1-bid league, as we all kind of feared, right? So. Let's talk a little bit more about this game, though, because it does bother me, right? I mean, I think I'm seeing in the chat a lot of frustration, right? People are saying, "Oh, that lack of effort this season," and it's inexcusable, and to a large portion, okay, is it inexcusable? I don't know if it's inexcusable. I'm not a coach. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I require certain things. Was it up to standard? Absolutely not. I think we could look back on this season and look at a lot of bigger picture things now that the season is done and it's complete. It's that time to do that, right? So, hey, credit to Utah State, guys. That was a really good team. And I didn't give them their credit to start this year. I mean, that team was very disciplined. Bothered the heck out of me. What's his name? Templin, hanging all over Goon there. I was very surprised that this game didn't turn into a Templin fiasco again, right? He didn't really do too much. So even with that, though, their stars played big.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good fundamental basketball team, and they're an even better defensive team than they were, I think, last year. So you can't knock. Yeah, you can. It's like every other team. Like as you're younger, oh, I hate that team. Blah blah blah. Now it's like they're a good fundamental team. But what we saw in them getting the 9 seed and only team in the Mountain West getting it is they didn't respect the Mountain West for what they were. And what I learned from us, and this is going to be interesting to see how the consistency matters. Consistency matters. You got to win those games in November. You can't win the tournament in November. You can lose it in November, right? The other thing is don't schedule games 5 games in a row every other Wednesday or 1 game a week. That's tough. Now obviously that comes down to scheduling and other teams and stuff like that, but that is going to be something for them to look at next year. Of it took us a while to get going, so consistency matters. You got to win those games early, and it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes everything doesn't work out in your favor. You fight till the end. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but this is the first time in 5 years we haven't been to the tournament, 6 years, whatever it is. So sometimes life gets you, but you got to regroup and come back and learn from it and move on. And I think this team will do it next year, but this is a tough pill to swallow considering all the expectations we had.
Is this life just getting you, Fiend, or is this maybe a sign of a bigger trend now? Because the playing game last year, we all saw how that went. That was a really tough game. Of course, with certain circumstances. I mean, Magoon had came back for that game. It wasn't hitting. It wasn't right from top to bottom. But yeah, bigger picture stuff, man. This team from the play-in to the last 4 out, or the first 4 out, excuse me. Is this a little bit of a bigger picture issue, or is this kind of like, sometimes you just don't make it?
No, I think there is something is going on that needs to be corrected. I don't know if it's the personnel or if it's the coaching strategy. Certainly, we underperformed this year. Utah State, best team in the league. They earned it. Regular season championship, tournament championship, coach of the year, player of the year, absolutely deserved it. They were the best team in the league. I think we had the talent to win the league, but I don't think that talent fit together, didn't play consistent, tough enough throughout the year. And I think the coaching, I think there's some stuff that needs to change with coaching, the strategy, and, I would love to get, into like advanced analytics and all that stuff. But I feel like we're kind of using an old guard approach, and we need to switch it up a little bit. We need to get into the more modern times of basketball and the reality with NIL and stuff like that, and having to flip a roster, because we're just not used to that. We're used to the development of players and players being in the program for so many years and love being an Aztec and the family around that. And that's just with the dollar that just like takes it away, or it can corrupt it. Right. And so you got to find the right guys to bring in the program that are about the program, put the program first, get their money, but put it first. And that's not to say like the guys didn't try hard. I'm really proud of how they played the last 3 games. It was great to see 3 games in Vegas this year after missing out last year. It absolutely sucked last year when we lost our first game. So even though we lost the championship, being able to watch 3 games, it's amazing. Being an Aztec fan and to have that experience. And I say thank you to them. I appreciate that. But definitely I think we underperformed. We know we should have been in the tournament and we didn't make it. So we got to learn from it, and we got to learn, coaching staff, players, maybe fans too. How do we bring our team to the next level, right? Because I don't see us as a program that's going to be second best to anyone in any league that we're in. We want to be on top. What do we need to get there?
Unfortunately, we do this podcast, the website, and all that stuff. But, I'll be honest with you, as a fan, I kind of bit my tongue a lot coming into this season, knowing that this team was going to be really good. And I think we all realized that. I mean, second seed, with all the struggles, with all the inconsistencies, the injuries, everything, they still came in second seed, took Utah State in the championship game, and they were right there with it. But if you would have asked me, I mean, is this as going to be as good of a team as I think the fan base was hyping it up? I would have said no, just because that exactly what you're saying, Fiend. Like, we're so used to that development and then adding in those pieces through the transfer portal. Right before it was a portal, we would get transfers. I mean, San Diego State has built their reputation off of bringing in transfers, going all the way back to Randy Holcomb days. I mean, this is what this foundation was built on. But now it's just a different ball game with the NIL and that lack of development. So
we did have a lot of retention, though, and I think there was a
right.
feeling that guys just didn't develop enough over this past year. I think there was some expectation that certain guys were going to develop more than they did, and it just didn't happen for whatever reason. But I think what's more disturbing, though, is it's like the guys had to flip a switch at the end. You heard Bird, and I love Bird in interviews because he's so candid, and he's like, "Look, we took games off. Like we can't take games off. I mean, guys, for whatever reason, we're not focused, and they weren't dialed in, and then Dutcher saying earlier on that I can't get my guys to focus in practice and get what I need them to do. Like you need to get better. You need to practice. You need to be in there working to get better as a team, and that's the opportunity. And so if you can't give your effort and your all to it, then you're not going to have the type of success you want. And just the disconnect that I see between like some of the stuff that was said, right? Like Reese Waters saying, look, we've run the Mountain West since I've been here. And it's like, well, no, you haven't. I mean, how many titles do you have, within the Mountain West? 0. You got Sweet 16, but and you know what I mean? It's almost like almost like a feeling of like entitlement. Right?
Yeah.
It's a feeling of entitlement, and that's it's like resting on the laurels of the people who built this program, right? Instead of carrying that and holding it to a high standard in everything you do, And so that was kind of the disappointment, and you just noticed it through the season between like what they said they wanted to do and what they were actually doing. And it just it wasn't congruent with a championship level team.
And I love that you're saying all this stuff, and especially before like thanking the program for giving us those 2 victories, giving us 3 games in the tournament, right? I don't think it was a lack of like, oh, there's no pride in the program, they're not wanting to play hard. I don't think it's any of that. I mean, you see these players' faces coming off the court. You see Bird, I mean, just very emotional. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to do well. Like a lot of fans like to make this thing such a personal thing, like, and it's not that. I don't feel that it is that. Is there a sense of maybe that entitlement, having the focus that's not correct needs to be corrected, right? But I think deep down, I mean, of course guys want to win. They want to perform well. But there are some things I think internally, as far as what you're saying, coaching with so many players, minutes being divvied up. I said it from the beginning. That was going to be the biggest challenge for Dutch, because any little fault that happens, well, you should have played so-and-so in this rotation, in this lineup, and you should have had this mixture, this ingredient. And it was going to be a constant Monday morning quarterback type of situation. And unfortunately, that's what it was. I think they would choose to do some things differently next year. I think we are going to see some things differently next year with maybe not so many players that are going to see the rotation, first off. Mike, you got anything to jump in on this, man? Or are we just blabbering about? Because, I think this is all real stuff that the fan base is feeling and walking away from.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I don't. It's doesn't matter right now. To me, these guys, it doesn't matter to me because this is an extra problem that we have to worry about right now, right? So the fact that these guys played the way they played, yeah, they had some learning along the way where they said, hey, we took some games off. It just shows you have to be consistent. One game. I think if they would have won one more game, not necessarily the Utah State game, they probably would have been in. And that just shows you, as a young man growing up, we've all been in that situation. You're like, man, if I would have done one thing different, it could have been a different outcome. Right. And so you see Miles and you see the passion that he has in his face, and you have, all the passion these guys come out with, and you see the finality of them losing, and knowing it's up to a coin flip if we're going to get in or not, and so that you don't want to leave anything to, you don't want to leave the decision to anybody else but yourself. You don't want to let anybody else make the decision for you. You know, and unfortunately, that's what happened. And I think last year, I still don't know if we should have really been in, but we were in because we beat Houston, right? This year we didn't get in because we lost to Troy. That just shows you the tale of two different things in 2 different years. You get beat by Boise in the first round last year. You get smoked by North Carolina. Yeah, you played well against UNLV, and then you beat Colorado State, and then you beat New Mexico, and you beat Utah State, and you're not in. So those are 2 really unfulfilling ends to the season for 5 of these guys who aren't going to be back. You know, obviously Newman wasn't here. Reese didn't play last year, and that's a whole different thing. You know, Reese coming off a year away, Magoon coming off a knee injury, only playing every Wednesday for like 4 weeks in a row. That had a lot of things, and so there's a lot of things that you can. It's kind of funny I didn't say anything to say about this, but now I'm talking about it. So you if I were looking at my off season, if you would grant me this saying I'm not going to say anything, but I am going to say something. Schedule more early in the season. You don't have the guys coming off from injury and not playing for next year. Like, you know, Odin didn't play for a whole year either. So, you know, and then you had too many guys. You know, I would look at scheduling, rotation, and looking to pound into these guys. You're in a new conference now. Wipe all that other shit behind you. That's gone. You can start fresh day one, and you have other competition here. This is our revenge tour, or whatever you want to call it, retribution tour, with whoever's on the team next year and whoever's playing for us. We know what the coaching staff's going to be like. There's always going to get some calls, and we'll see if anything happens there. But you know, at the top, Dave and Dutch are there, 100%. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the other guys are leaving, but I'm saying we know for sure those 2 guys are going to be at the top for the foreseeable future. There's just, and I agree with you, there's some things that need to change, because a 22-11 season is a down year, but 23-10, you probably would have gotten the tourney.
Yeah, and that's how close the margins were. And you're right. I think these guys do have some regret. And you know, I went on a podcast with the guys from the Mountain West podcasters, and Steve Ivey, a podcaster from Colorado State. He asked me point blank. He said, "Look, you know, you guys came into Moby Arena, and it looked like you guys were really unfocused in warmups." And I was really surprised by that. He's like, "Did you notice that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I noticed that all year long. Like, they just were not focused. It's like they were goofing around and not having like a pro-like mentality." Right. And when you have a strong core nucleus of Aztecs who are coming back, you should have, you know, the leaders stepping up and showing what that culture is and what this program is built on. Right. I think that's going to be tougher to do when you're flipping a roster every year. That's where the coaching staff, that's where Dave, that's where Dutch, that's where AG need to come in and say, hey, this is the standard of Aztec basketball. And I feel like they're going to need to be more vocal than letting it be just a player-led team. Because if you let a player-led team with a new roster come in, it's going to develop its own culture. It's not going to be the culture of San Diego State.
And the one quote that I remember that can clarify, magnify the whole season was Ziegler saying at the beginning of the year, "The good news is there's 8 guys coming back from last year. The bad news is there's 8 guys coming back from last year." You remember that quote he said? And and unfortunately he was right. You know, I'm not saying, and this isn't to belittle anybody, right? This is nitpicky. But you look at that quote and it was kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? It was kind of the same situation where they didn't finish last year. They didn't finish this year in different silos. You know what I mean? But, you know, you're right. There's certain games you're just kind of like, I don't understand. I said all year, I don't really understand this team. I don't get it. You know what I mean? So, you know, but this is a team that will go down as a very interesting, anxiety-ridden, fun team to watch. We had fun. We watched them play. You know, there were some interesting games. There's some wild stuff going on. But, you know, man, like, they're Aztecs for life. Those are our guys through thick and thin. We're always going to root for them wherever they go, whether it's San Diego State, whether it's NBA, whether it's wherever they go, another college. Those are our guys, man. So, you know, we are lucky enough to watch them enjoy watching them get to meet some of their families, get to meet some of their friends, have them talk to them here and there, guarding them up at the airport like Fiend did. But the other thing too is like, would Miles Heide have made a difference in that Utah State game? We'll never know. We'll never know. But that hurt not having him. You know what I mean? But congrats to Utah State, man. I mean, they deserved it. They played well. I'm going to root for them. I hope they beat Villanova. They're playing in a familiar arena down in San Diego.
Hope they beat Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, that's good luck with that, right?
Awesome.
I hope they win one game, right? So I mean, I think Mountain West has won 11 tournament games, and we won 7 of them. So let's thought, we still have, some history more than all the other schools as we leave the tournament, the conference. But man, it was a disappointing year with the expectations. But that New Mexico game was fun as hell, man. That was a great game. You know what I mean? Like, I know you weren't there to see it, but I mean, it's just, you're still trying to figure out, like you said, it's the finality of the end. This is it. They don't get to play again. And that's why I get jonesed up for these games in the tournaments, because you never know if you don't know if you're going to play tomorrow, And I think that's pretty cool as a fan, for me to watch it, because it puts a little extra on line. I'm not a gambler, but that was fun, man. And just to get to do it with you guys, the last Mountain West tournament, that was a privilege.
Thank you, T-Mac. As always, of course, he's got his super. He says, happy belated birthday to Fiend. Sorry he missed it. Of course, he had to head back to Medellin for his loved ones, of course. Man, let's see. The question in the chat, guys. The question in the chat. Would not redshirting Latrell Davis had made a difference? I know.
Too many guys. Too many guys. I still think they should have redshirted one other guy. There's just too many guys. There's too many mouths to feed. Too many guys coming off injury or not playing, and it just never really gelled until the last minute. You know what I mean? It just never really gelled. So, you take this year as a learning experience. You still won 22 games. And Dutch has never not won 20 games as a coach. So, at some point, it's funny when I heard him, he's like, I think he said something like, I do all my preparation and I'm pretty relaxed during the game. I'm like, well, I watch you. Yeah. It doesn't look like you're relaxed sometimes there. You know what I mean? He looks pretty pissed off, dude. So it's like, but it's the finality of, we don't get to watch our guys another time. And that's what I look at. I'm probably never going to see Mr. and Mrs. Bird again. Right. And every time I saw them, they're so polite, so cordial, asked about my daughter, asked about how everything's going on. You know what I mean? And then you get to see other, Mr. Davis, Mr. BJ's mom and dad. I saw him every time I was up here in Nevada. I would love to him to come back. I would love to see him one more year. I think his development's going to be awesome. But it's the finality of, we don't get to watch our guys anymore. I don't get the privilege to go to every game anymore. So it's the toughest part of the year for me. And I know I'm rambling. I'm getting emotional, but you know what? I got to see you guys. I got to go to some basketball games. I got to see my daughter finish 3rd overall in state in her competition. I did cannonballs in the pool, ate pizza, throwing the kids up in the pool. That's a good weekend, man. You know what I mean? You got to spend it with your buddies, and then you get to end it with your family. I mean, that's a pretty good weekend, man. And it's those are the memories we get to see forever. And Fiend writing some interesting things and drinking out of toilets and things like that. But this is sad, man. We won't get to see these guys again. And I wish them the best. And I hope, I do love BJ. It's true. And so I wish the best, man. And, it sucks that it comes to an end, but everything comes to an end. You just, you got to enjoy the ride, because everything has a finality.
Nick Hernandez says, too many cooks in the kitchen if Latrell was playing. Unfortunately, dude is going to be head chef next season, though. Got to make sure punctuation is important right there. Got to make sure I put that period there. But yeah, he's going to be head chef next season, though. Next season, hey, we could do a whole nother off-season podcast about that, because things are going to actively start moving. Talking about portal, who's leaving, who's going. Of course, the tournament is here, guys. It's just not that exciting without the Aztecs in there, Mike. It's just not. Of course, I will be watching. Will I be rooting Utah State on? I don't know. I respect them. I don't like them. But the transfer portal additions that we made this year, guys, as we continue to move on, because I know this is running a little late, I'm not sure exactly what this roster is going to look like and what was going into this team this year. I think when you look at Heidi, did some really good things this year, but were they expecting Majok to take that next step and get playing time? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how he moves forward, right? I mean, that's a big body. All we heard about was the size and length coming into the season. Of course, with Magoon getting that late jump on the year, that didn't it put the dynamic of the team in a weird spot. The freshmen were super talented. Of course, we didn't have LZ these last couple games. That could have made a world difference against Utah State and New Mexico. So a lot of things to consider, man. A lot of changing parts. You know, I don't think anybody has their finger on what should happen or what's going to happen. But one thing that, you know, there does need to be some change. And, you know, defense. It's always going to start with that, as it should. Defense and rebounding. That's got to be the driving force towards next season. Because it just wasn't up to standard this year.
We got to
get tougher. Got to get bigger, bulkier, thicker, whatever you want to say.
Bulkier. We got to take care of the basketball more. We got to, you know, that was a big issue, was turning the ball over. We got to get better 3-point shooting. You know, Bird shooting 2 for 17 in the tournament. You know, he was really good driving to the hoop. You know, but it just didn't work out at the 3-point line. We need to get some 3-point shooters in, some dead-eye 3-point shooters that we can count on to come off the screens and knock down a shot when we need it. And so, you know, there's got to be some personnel changes, I think, on this team if we want to get back on track.
I don't want to belabor.
There's going to be some changes for sure.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, man. There's always going to be a change.
I want to get
guys. I want to get guys who are hungry. That's the most important thing. Who just are dying to be an Aztec and to, you know, that are hungry to win, that have that hunger. I don't feel like we had that team this year until the very end. I felt like they got hungry at the end, but not throughout the season. I want a team that's locked in and a bunch of dudes who are hungry to go out and win as a team and not worry about individual stuff.
Here's a big question for both of you guys, because this week we are finally going to release our interview with Aztecs football GM Caleb Davis. We were really fortunate to have a sit-down interview with him and learned a ton on the approach of what they do on the football side. And, you know, the programs, hey, they're all A+ to me. But when it comes to basketball, I love what Caleb said on the football side is, you know, exactly that. You want to see that competitiveness in everything that individual does, not just the game, not just facets of the game, but in their personal life and how they operate and move. Are they competitive? Do they have that real dog competitive nature? Of course, football is a different animal, right? I mean, you got to get real physical. It's a contact collision sport. But on the basketball side, same thing. So my question for you guys is, now that we are in this new NIL era, this new revenue sharing era, and with all the challenges that we're going to have, Pac-12 or not Pac-12, should it be considered Aztecs basketball? Should they be looking at possible GM type of positions that's aside from staff, aside from, you know, coaching staff as far as the day-to-day positional strategy type stuff? But, you know, that's something I've thought about these last few weeks since that interview. And, you know, I'm not sure what that would look like on the basketball side, but I think it is something to think about when it comes to what we're talking about, the advanced analytics and all that stuff, right? So
sure. Yeah, need a bigger commitment from the coaching staff to advanced analytics and their approach to the game. You're seeing us get passed up by coaches like Calhoun and Olin, who was able to flip a roster with a lot of D2 guys at UCSD and at New Mexico, and the guy is an analytics coach. Calhoun's an analytics coach. You just can't. It's like it's like in the movie Moneyball, and there's the old scout, right? Well, I've been doing it this way forever, and I've got all this experience and everything. But the numbers and the analytics it's not the end all be all, but that can be a real game changer, especially when you have finite resources in an NIL, environment, and you have to maximize the value that you're getting with the NIL.
Mike's like, I'm not going to bother with that question.
It's such a complex question to answer because, like I've always said, we've got our guys, right? And I just think, like last year, we thought Reese was going to play and he didn't play, and we were a man down, and we did what we needed to do because Boyd took over the team, right? This year, we had everybody back, and it's two different teams, but kind of similar results. So it's like, okay, so where's the medium of it? The NL, we've always said, hey, if it's all about the money, you're not going to come here. So I don't think, I don't know how to predict that and put that into place, because we've never always been all just about the money. But you also have to have the guys who want to be here and want to compete. And I'm not saying these guys didn't, but maybe there was just, like a little bit of a, I don't know, man. Like it just seemed like there was some times where the chemistry just wasn't there when it should have been. And, you have to really have that chemistry as a team. And sometimes it just doesn't work. Like remember when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq and was it Gary Payton and
Karl Malone?
You had all this talent, but there just wasn't. There didn't gel. There was too many egos involved. I'm not saying that was the case here, but I look at Reese and I love Reese, but I think he's just kind of like, hey man, like I'm doing my job. I expect you to do your job. I'm not going to yell at you and scream at you, but I'm here doing my job. I expect the same out of you. Now, that's just what I see. I'm not saying that's correct or incorrect, but just what I would see him on the floor and what he would do, and BJ is methodical going about what his business is like. It almost seemed like we need one alpha like Jaden was the other year. We just need one alpha to lead the team, and you have a bunch of guys that are like, let's go. You know what I mean? They're not betas. I'm not saying that, but you need one guy who's going to be, this is Sparta, right? So, and I might be off track here. That's just what I'm seeing, and it's going to be interesting to see how they put this roster together, because, these coaches learn from every single year, like everybody does in business and school and work and everything like that. So it'll be interesting because you have 5 guys who aren't going to be here next year, and there's going to be a guy or two who probably leaves. Let's just call it what it is. Right. So this will be a curious team to watch, but I have my thoughts on what I would like to see come back. But these kids got to do what's best for them. At the end of the day, this is a step on their journey to where they want to go. But we need to look at the NIL and compared and look at the chemistry issue and see how guys play together. And I don't know how you do that, man. The coaches do that really, really well. And we've had a good run at that,
And that's the thing. That's why I bring up the point, is because that's been the culture. They've done such a great job. This program was really founded on bringing in those transfers and dialing in the chemistry and all that stuff. But with this whole NIL thing, it's a completely different animal. Like anybody who is like bad mouthing the coaches, like get lost, because this is uncharted territory. And then if you're not a power conference, like the challenge is so immense for these coaching staff. That's why I bring up the point is like a GM. Maybe that is a something to bridge that gap that's going to work alongside with the coaches and the money. So you're bringing in the right type of guys, competitive guys, chemistry guys. That it's not a personal thing, right? It's not saying that so and so is not in it for the right reasons, but to try and ensure that it's the right fit, so that the chemistry is there, so that the analytics are there. So what you're trying to accomplish, so and so is good from these analytics, these spots, all that stuff. It's just getting stability throughout all the instability of NIL.
And that's the tough part, man, because you look at the guys who have built this program. We're not talking like 4 or 5 star. I mean, maybe Kawhi, right? But like
Right.
Jamal was a 0 star, and but now he was built playing in a different time. And so, you get these guys who come in 0 stars, we give them a shot. Like, I think everybody was shocked Magoon came back. I think he was a 0 star too, but he came back. I would love to see Magoon come back one year and be healthy and play. Will that happen? I don't know. We'll see. Now I know Fiend's going to have anxiety until what, March, or when is it close? September?
I think it's April 21st.
Okay.
I think it opens the.
Send him some
Is
coffee.
it April 6th?
Send him some Xanax.
Fiend, this is a good question for you. I love that, Mike. Is Fiend,
April 7th to April 21st.
Okay.
Are you feeling the same anxiety this offseason as you were last offseason?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm
I
not.
agree. I can understand.
I'm not, because I feel like there is some changes that need to be made, and I like some of the, hopefully some of the pieces that are coming back that I think are going to come back. But then it's a matter of filling in the gaps. And, when you have a disappointing season, when you have a season where you didn't get to the tournament, you're not hanging a banner, which is kind of a standard at SDSU. We expect to hang a banner every year, and you fall short of that. Well, then, you got to look at the reasons why and make changes. And so I feel like this is a perfect time to sort of reset. We had to reset in, what was it, there was that 2017, 2018, 2019, where we kind of fell down a little bit, and then we reset in 2020. We got back on top, and so they just got to reset and refocus and get dialed in to play Aztec basketball.
Yeah. I mean, you know what, man? Like, at the end of the day, Brian Dutcher's 220-78 in 9 years as head coach. How many teams can have a coach who has that in their first 9 years? You got two Sweet 16s, correct, and one championship game, and you have the COVID year. Who knows what will happen that year, right? So, let's not get so low that the ants piss on us. You know what I mean? Like, we have a good seat. I'm not saying you guys, but some of the fans and stuff are like, oh my God, So it's like, this is life, man. Not every year is going to be the best year ever. So we had a little bit off season, 22-11. A lot of teams would love that. But there are some things that you learn from each season going forward that they're going to do. And I have full confidence in these guys and whoever comes back on our team to say, hey, you know what, man? We didn't fulfill our obligation that we had to. And they don't know anybody anything except themselves, right? But, at some point you're like, hey, this isn't the standard. We don't play for standings. We play for the standard, and the standard is kind of you gotta realize, hey, we have a chance next year to redeem whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do, the team, whatever that year was, and in a new conference and a new fresh start. And I'm excited to see what this team does forward, because I think the opportunity is there. But it is a different, with NIL involved. It is a totally different beast. And, it's tough to compete with Duke, who's got 30 million in NIL for that, and stuff like that. So it's a different ball game, but it also shows you that in correspondence, you have to be consistent every year. You have to be consistent every game and win as many games as you can. You can't lose to the Troy States, even though they won their conference. They're still a good team, especially at home. To me, the two losses that really bothered the shit out of me was the Troy game and the Grand Canyon game when we lost by 11. We just looked flat. That really pissed me off, after beating Nevada. But hey, you know what, man? It is what it is. The GM thing is an interesting situation. It's an interesting scenario, but we're going to see, we'll know by April 21st, what they can go in the portal until the 21st, but then after that they can, how does that work, Fiend?
They can go in the portal, but then they got to get in the portal before the 21st. Then they can take their time. Yeah. But I just want one last thing. I got to push back on what you're saying about being content with 20 wins or 22-11.
Not content.
But you're saying, like, but hey, look at the bright side of this, right?
Why can't you look at the bright side? Why are you going to look at the bad side on everything?
Look,
if you're
I don't want that mentality to become the standard. Okay, when you start to creep in with that mentality, and it's not like 25 wins and, you know, at least like a round of 32 or Sweet 16 every year, that should be the standard. That should be what you strive for. And I don't think you can really be content with not being in the tournament and being 22-11. I'm sorry.
See, I'm not taking
Yeah,
that from what he said at all.
Yeah,
And you
you're
got to
taking it the wrong
understand.
way. You're not
You got to
listening to me.
understand it's coming from a fan's perspective, saying, "I trust Dutch. I trust this staff that they've done it in the past. They're going to get it right." It's showing your trust in that. Now, if these were the coaches saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, what we did in the past, you know, it's going to carry us through, and that's it," different perspective for somebody to have. It's just coming from him saying, "Look, they're going to get it right," showing that confidence in your leadership. And that's what you got to do, because essentially none of us have any power to change anything. Fiend, you don't have any power to change anything. Mike doesn't have any. I don't have any. So it's up to the staff, and you show that consistent confidence in the staff. Now, if they were resting on those laurels, then you got to have a conversation.
You're looking at the future. I'm looking at what just happened. I'm looking at, hey, this is what we did this year. I'm looking at picking the good things about what happened this year, not the bad things. Now, moving forward, the bad things are what you need to sort out moving forward, while also appreciating what you did well this year.
Sure. I mean,
Okay, so
you got it. All right, go ahead.
So the question in the chat, to piggyback off of that, though, how do you guys think we're going to do in the Pac-12? Because we're coming into a conference now with Utah State, who is ascending, whether I like it or not, and Gonzaga, who is, I mean, let's face it, guys, year in and year out, they don't miss a beat, and they are not in a power conference either, but they got a ton of money, right? They got a ton of money. So how do you guys think?
I think we'll do just fine. I think we'll compete.
We don't want fine. We don't want to just compete. We want to win. Okay. We want to go out and get 25-4, right? We want to go to Sweet 16s. We want to be the standard. Okay. All right. See how that works, butthead. So listen, this you have your work cut out for you. You are going to a conference with basically the same teams outside. You don't have the cupcakes in Air Force and San Jose State, right? You don't have a couple other teams that aren't there. You still have Utah State. You still have Boise, right? You still have these teams. I don't remember who else is in
Fresno.
League, dude. Yeah,
Fresno and Texas State.
Texas State. I don't know anything about them. You know what I mean? I still thought we lost the freaking road, the Alamo. I was reading a book. I was like, what the fuck, man? We lost this shit? And I was like, what? Was I not in school that day? Apparently not. But we lost. By the way, FYI, we lost the Alamo. So it's like you look at this, you look at what you're for. You got Gonzaga 2 times a year, potentially 3. So there's a lot of work to do. You appreciate what you did. Yeah, that wasn't what you wanted, but it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I want. Well, why don't you just appreciate what you have, and then you can work on what you need.
Laurels, yeah.
No, that's not. That's why I'm successful and you're not. You know what I mean?
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
but you gotta look. You gotta
I'm
look
about
at
to hit you over the head with this, man.
No, that's a joke.
Next time I see you, bro.
But you have to appreciate what you have, and also look towards what you want. You know,
Everybody show your shirts right now. Everybody show your shirts. What you got?
I'm gonna make it.
Dutch we trust. Aztec Warrior Carlos, Reese, Dixon Waters. Oh yeah. Says it all.
Fiend's way more successful than me. Everybody comes up to him and says, "Hey, what's up? I love you, Fiend," and he's dancing and riding things. But yeah. I mean, he's sitting in my hotel room, just like lounging with his pants off, just sitting on the couch. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. But listen,
lies.
You have a lot of work to do next year. It's a fresh start. It's a fresh conference. We've completely gone off the rails again, or I have
just a little bit.
But
just a little bit.
You got to appreciate what you have and not what you don't. But you also got to work for what you want. I guess it is a roundabout way to put it.
I love it. Oh, guys, if you can't tell, we're at our wits' end just a little bit. It's the end of the season. It's over. No NIT, no crown, nothing. Do you guys agree with not playing in any postseason tournament? I do. It pains me that the NIT is not what it once was. I mean, that used to be the premier basketball tournament way back in the day. And let's be honest, back in the days when we made it, playing in Madison Square was like, that still had some prestige to it. Nowadays, I mean, you just don't have any time for it. I'm glad they're not playing in it, guys. I don't know how you guys feel. I am glad they're not playing in it.
Selfishly, I would like to see him play again, but I think that you got to do what's best for the team. And I think, with how much injuries they have, and what they've got going on, it's just, hey, man, you know what? That was our season. We fought till the end. It's time for a break.
Yeah. The women are playing, though. WBIT on Thursday, 6 o'clock, Jenny Craig Arena. USD, get over there.
Apologies to all you guys. We wanted to tap into the ladies postseason, and just it was a tough way to go. But I am grateful they are going to play in a postseason tournament because they deserve that. They deserve that. One game, great season, terrific season. Hopefully they can right that ship.
But I think that's the difference. The women are still building that empire. You know what I mean? I think that's good for them. The NIT now is 5 Mountain West teams. It's all Mountain West teams. We probably would have had the 1 seed, but what's that's, you play for the NCAA now, where we're at a different level. You know what I mean?
Guys, anything else we need to go over? Do we need to take a look at the bracket? I don't think so. Maybe if we get some movement coming up.
I'll maybe watch a game or two, but I'm not. I could care less. I never really watched a lot of the games anyways. If we weren't in it, you know what I mean?
Well, you ain't a fiend, bro. You ain't a fiend.
Yeah, I just never. I have other stuff going on.
Not a feral fiend.
Yeah, but you guys know I have other shit going on. You know what I mean? So it's like, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Guys, thank you for joining the stream.
Props to Carlos, by the way. Shout out to Carlos. I love seeing him and
dude,
hanging out.
He made the tournament. He makes the tournament every year. He's there.
The dude's 50 years old and he's still jacked and he's still out there with all the intensity and hanging out with people and I remember him. He was when I was a kid. Say hi. So it's props to him. We don't have a proper mascot. I still think we should put like a jaguar underneath the stadium or something like that, like LSU does. That'd be sick, dude. But maybe he'll eat Raj because of the stupid ass comments he's putting on the thing. But hey, if the season's over, I won't get to see you guys for a little bit, but I'll come down and see you guys soon, and we'll get together and hang out.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan. Guys, thank you for joining. sonsofmontezuma.com. Make sure you check it out for more articles, episodes, the online shop, all that good stuff. And we'll keep you guys updated. Hopefully we'll have more commentary on all the offseason moves. Of course, this week, make sure you tune in. Our interview with Caleb Davis, Aztecs football GM, will be premiering this week. So make sure you check that out. Spring football is right around the corner, just a week away. So let's get it. Let's get it.
Mike, someone thinks you need to jump in the portal.
I don't know. I don't know if they can afford me. I don't know if they can afford me. Who's Fiend? Is there a D there? Fiend. I'm gonna go. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna jump in the portal to Medellin with T-Mac.
Hey, Medellin. Let's do it. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good night.
Goodbye.
Until next time.
Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs. Do it. Say it.